Welcome to another episode of the Ask Swenk Show. On today's episode, we're going to talk about what makes a good lead magnet and how to turn that lead into an opportunity where they're reaching out to your agency. As well as we're going to talk about, should you be outsourcing your outbound sales to a call center? And what do you do when that client doesn't look at the work you send them, approves it, and then wants you to make that change?
I'm Jason Swenk, and I'm answering your questions. And this is Ask Swenk.
So the first question is from Frank. He says, what are others finding as a good lead magnet to generate new leads? And beyond that, what are good ways to get contacts to engage your firm once they're in your database? The best lead magnets I've seen, case studies. Now, I'm not saying like, hey, you want to check out this really good case study where we help this client out? No. You have to kind of do it where, hey, do you want to know how one manufacturing client increased their leads by 350% without doing X? My basic way I come up with headlines for my lead magnets, because headlines are the most crucial thing. How to do something cool without doing something that sucks. How to do something cool without doing something that sucks. Case studies are really good. Doing webinars or workshops, like a registration for that, is also another good lead magnet in order to get that lead. And I'm glad you're talking about this, is because we missed this completely at our agency. We did not concentrate on, an opt-in. We had the typical join our newsletter and we only had a couple people join. But I'm glad you're really focused on this. And then once they're leads, using your marketing automation, what gets them involved or get them to chat with you is keep providing them good information and have a call to action. Now, have one call to action on the piece of content that you're doing. So like, for example, let's say you provide them a case study to show them on lead generation. You could say at the very bottom, hey, if you want us to build you a lead generation system like we did for this client, click the button below and I'll send you all the information. And then your whole job is to get them to apply, not just give them your calendar. You want them to apply. You want them to feel that there's exclusivity to this, and this is special. And you should be only chatting with the best people, right? You shouldn't be taking on everybody. We've talked about this in other episodes. All right, so the second question is from Kelsey. Hopefully I said this name right. Does anyone have any experience with clients who approve work without actually looking at it? Yes, I've had this happen. I've had a client who has approved all the work, but who is just admittedly not actually taking the time to read any of the content I'm posting on her behalf. Any thoughts? What you need to do is you need to sit down with them and say, look, we've sent you all the information. And in the very beginning of the sales conversation, when we first started chatting with you, we told you our process. And we asked you if you had any issues with this. And you may not have done this, so that's kind of maybe could be a shock to them. But in the future, you need to kind of walk them through the process once you identify that you can actually help them out. Because a lot of times that will win the deal for you. Hopefully you have all these signed, kind of document trail letting them know that they have approved this stuff, rather than just saying, hey, I emailed you and you had a chance to look at it. See, that's the big difference. If you did that, I'm kind of siding with the client, right? Because they could say, I got busy, I saw the email, I just didn't have time to check it out. But if you actually changed your process and let them physically sign something in order to approve it, then you'll have a leg to stand on and say, look, dude, I walked you through the process in the very beginning. I sent you the paperwork. You filled it out, and now you want to change? Cool, we can do the change. We can do whatever you want, but there's going to be a change order, and it's going to take X in order to do that. So that's what I would do. All right, let's go to the next question. Oscar says, I see outbound marketing as a key component to growing my agency. Having tried a couple companies others recommended with mediocre results, and I'm being generous there, I thought of asking you for your experience in this respect and recommendations that you may have on telemarketing appointment setting companies. Oscar, I think we've all used telemarketing companies at some point. And I know a lot of the telemarketing companies that watch this, you're probably not going to like me. For all the ones I've used, I've never seen them produce any results. All right. Even for my clients, I've never seen them produce any results. Now, I'm not saying outbound sales is dead. You have a great opportunity for outbound sales, and that's kind of one of the 3 pillars in order to scaling and growing your agency, right? You have outbound, inbound, strategic partnerships. But on the outbound, you just don't want someone that doesn't understand your business, doesn't understand your audience's business, calling and saying, hey, we'd like to set up an appointment to give you a marketing audit. There's no value there, and they're just making 1,000 calls. It's better to come up with like your top 100 hit list and really target it and do a little bit of research. Understand the technologies they're using, what kind of marketing they've done. Who are these people? Look them up on Twitter and LinkedIn and all over, and then call them up and offer something of value, right? I always tell people, our outbound strategy, one of them was identifying companies that were spending over $10,000 a month in AdWords. So then we would call them up and say, hey, we noticed you're spending over $10,000 a month in AdWords, right? So immediately they know we've done our research. We've kind of shocked and awed them a little bit and maybe freaked them out a little bit. But and then we kind of go into, hey, you're spending over this much. There's a good chance that you may be overspending. We would like to take a look at that and see if we can help you out. Dude, we got that, and we charged for this. So that was our outbound strategy. Or let's say we did a lot of work with Lotus cars. So then when we're done that work, we could call Porsche and say, hey, we've been researching the market for a couple years, and we see a lot of opportunities that you may have in order to better position. And we get those meetings. Or, hey, we've been doing this kind of research, and I was wondering if you knew about this. Like, provide them something that they don't know. That works. And so getting a telemarketing company to try to do that is hard. Hiring someone to do that is hard, but is very possible. You have to hire someone that can understand that and can actually provide value versus just a numbers game. It is a numbers game, but you don't have to make 1,000 calls. You can make 100 calls and be more successful than that company just picking up the phone and knocking it out. So if you liked this episode, I want you to comment and subscribe just so you're not missing out on any of the information that we're providing. And I want to hear your insights because we really value the work that we're doing, and we want to make sure it's the best content out there we don't want anybody even close to our content. So we want to hear from you. Make sure you comment below, make sure you subscribe, and we will chat with you soon. See ya!